Hello everybody, welcome to the Analyst by Vajiram and Ravi dated 29th April 2026, where we would try to comprehensively analyze 7 articles in 2 different sections. In the analysis part, we will first have a comprehensive discussion with respect to the Uniform Civil Code as several states are looking forward to implement it after Uttarakhand. Then in the second article, we will examine the natural farming taking cues from the Prime Minister's recent praise of Sikkim as an example for nationwide adoption. Then in the prelims pointer section, we will have a discussion with respect to 5 different articles from the special perspective of your upcoming UPSC Prelims 2026 exam. Now coming to the very first topic of today's discussion, it is regarding Uniform Civil Code. Now imagine two citizens living in a country, having house on the same neighborhood, living on the same street, but when it comes to marriage, divorce, inheritance or adoption, the law treats them differently. Now why this is not because of any inequality, but because of the diversity within our country. Now this is the paradox we have in India, where on the one hand we have Article 44 DPSP, which says that the country should have a uniform civil code throughout the country, and whereas on the other hand the Article 25 says that every individual should have religious freedom. So it brings us not to just a legal question but a more philosophical and societal question, where can we achieve uniformity within our nation without compromising its diversity? The debate is not new. It has been continuing right from the time of Constituent Assembly, where B.R. Ambedkar, led by other members of drafting committee, they argued in favor of a uniform civil code, whereas there were other members who argued against this law. So whenever this question of uniform civil code comes up, it raises question regarding secularism, gender justice and national integration. We will look at all these aspects in today's discussion. So right now we'll be discussing because recently MP government, Madhya Pradesh, they have set up a panel to prepare a draft uniform civil code bill within the next 60 days. So after Uttarakhand, which was the first state post-independence to apply uniform civil code, now states like Assam, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh, they are looking at the legal routes to implement the UCC. Why is it important for us? It is part of GS paper 2 of Indian polity. It talks about fundamental rights of Article 14, 25, whereas DPSP of Article 44, and it is related to Indian Constitution. In GS paper 1 also it is related to secularism topic. Clear? So let's begin with the today's discussion. What is UCC? Basically UCC says that we should have one common set of civil laws for all the citizens of India. And what topics will be covered? It will cover marriage, divorce, adoption and inheritance. Inheritance means when somebody acquires the property of their parents. Clear? So this uniform civil code, basically it means that all sections of society, irrespective of their religion, shall be treated equally according to the national civil code, which shall be applicable to all uniformly. Right now what is happening? Hindus along with Sikhs, Buddhists, these people are having different laws, personal laws. Muslims are having their own different laws. Similarly, Christians are having different laws. But what UCC says that we should have one common law as a citizen of India, not based upon your religion. Clear? So it will cover marriage, divorce, maintenance, inheritance, adoption and succession of property. For example, giving maintenance to the wife is not part of the personal law of Muslims, but it is part of the law governed by by which the Hindu people are governed. So a woman, if she's left by her husband, who was dependent on her husband, now if she's a Hindu, she can claim maintenance. But if she's a Muslim, she cannot claim any maintenance. So this gender injustice has to be done away. This is the basic argument of government when they promote uniform civil code. Now constitutional provisions, as you've seen, it is part of Article 44, where states shall endeavor to secure as the citizens a uniform civil code throughout the territory of India. Now it replaces religion-based personal laws into a uniform civil code. Uniform civil code is basically a law, a uniform law for the entire country. Its objective is to promote equality, secularism and national integration in India, along with ensuring gender justice for the women. Now, we should look at some of the historical backgrounds, how the debate evolved, what is happening right now, all these things. During the Constituent Assembly, K.M. Munshi, who was the member of the 7-member drafting committee, he advocated that UCC for national unity and secularism, noting that even Hindu communities are concerned with this. Even Hindu communities will also get benefit from this uniform civil code. A lot of things, a lot of gender justice, a lot of women will benefit out of this uniform civil code once it is implemented. This was the argument of KM Munshi. Whereas there were several Muslim leaders who argued that UCC violates the religious freedom and would cause disharmony in the society. Religious freedom as it is given under Article 25. Article 25, freedom of religion for every individual. So some Muslim leaders said that this is a religious matter. You should not interfere within this matter. So B.R. Ambedkar, although he supported UCC, but he made it a directive principle and which was not enforceable because he said that the society of India is not ready to accept this law as a uniform code. Yeah. Why? Because social sensitivity and need for gradual reforms. That instead of putting out a uniform civil code into once, we should break its part into small subsegments and then apply them one by one. Okay, so what are the constitutional basis? Article 44 DPSP, it says that states shall endeavor to secure UCC, and Article 14 talks about equality, which is in favor of UCC. Then Article 15 also talks about non-discrimination, it is also in favor of UCC, whereas Article 25, it is against UCC. It says that religious freedom has to be maintained and every individual should be governed by their own religious laws. Fine. So this uniform civil code, the personal laws on marriage, divorce, succession, they all are part of concurrent list. So remember this thing. This can also be used in your prelims exam. It empowers both center and state to legislate upon this particular matter. Clear? So it is part of concurrent list. Now we'll see some of the current situations. What is happening with regards to the uniform civil code right now in India? See, Hindus have their Hindu personal laws like Hindu Marriage Act, Hindu Succession Act of 1956. The term Hindu here includes Sikh, Jains and Buddhist within these laws. So these four religious communities are covered within one Hindu personal laws. Then Muslims have their own personal laws. They are not codified per se, but it is based upon religious texts. So this is the main argument behind a lot of Muslim women also, that their laws are not codified properly. It is based upon religious texts, how they are interpreted by their community leaders. Certain aspects of these are expressly recognized in the Muslim Personal Law Shariat Application Act of 1937, which is in short called Shariat law. Some aspects are written in this Shariat law. Christians have their own personal law as Christian Marriage Act of 1872. Then you have a Special Marriage Act, which is more secular law. Now this is something close to Uniform Civil Code, which disregards religion altogether, such as Special Marriage Act of 1954. Now here, if two people of different communities, different caste, different religion, if they have to marry, they marry under the Special Marriage Act of 1954. So this is more, you can say, one step towards the UCC. But we have not done anything extra apart from this Special Marriage Act after this 1954. Now what are the exceptions to personal laws? Under Article 371, which talks about special provisions for some states, the Constitution makes certain exemptions to family law for the state of Assam, Nagaland, Mizoram, etc. to protect distinct regional identity. A lot of cultural identity in northeastern states is maintained as per this Article 371, or you can say Schedule 6 under these parts. Because those people in the northeast, they have their different cultural identity, they have their different cultural setting. Government does not want to disrupt in their way of living. So certain exemptions are given to those people. Goa was the only state before independence in India where Goa's civil code, which was a Portuguese civil code, Goa was being a Portuguese society. So Portuguese civil law was already applicable in Goa when it became part of India. After independence, Uttarakhand is the only state which have passed UCC law. So Uttarakhand is the first state post-independence to pass UCC laws. Right now, Assam, Gujarat, MP, they are exploring the feasibility of implementing this UCC. And soon it will be implemented in a lot of states. In fact, the Bengal elections are going on right now. The Prime Minister and his party BJP, they have also promised to implement UCC in West Bengal if they come to power. Clear? So there are some important judgments in this regard regarding to secularism and the uniform civil codes which relate to these. First is your Shah Bano case of 1985. Here, right of a Muslim woman to claim maintenance was given by the court. Basically, the court said that if a woman is thrown out of her house by the husband, she has the right to claim maintenance over him, just like the Hindu woman can do. So this was a landmark judgment of that time. However, not much was done beyond that. It was not supported by laws of legislation. Then you had Sarla Mudgal case in 1995, 10 years after that, where a Hindu husband cannot convert to Islam and marry another woman. In Islam religion, a man is allowed multiple marriages, whereas in Hindu it is not allowed. So just for doing another marriage without nullifying the previous marriage, a Hindu person cannot convert into Islam and say that now I'm a Muslim, I can marry again. No, you cannot do like that. So this was said in the Sarla Mudgal case. And then came the Shaira Bano case, the latest one in 2017, Shaira Bano versus Union of India, where the practice of triple talaq is called unconstitutional by the government, or you can say the Supreme Court. The court said that a Muslim person, just by saying 3 times talaq hai, talaq hai, talaq hai to a woman, he cannot just set her aside. He cannot give her divorce just by saying talaq 3 times. So it violates, the court said it violates Article 14, equality of women, and that dignity of women is also violated by this. It led to enactment of Muslim Women Protection of Rights of Marriage Act 2019. To further give wings to the Supreme Court judgment, or you can say to solidify that judgment, the government came up with this act, Muslim Women Protection of Rights Act 2019, so that in future if anybody does this practice of triple talaq, they can be treated under the law, or they can be punished under the law. Okay, so these are 3 other most important judgments in this regard. Now we'll see some of the arguments in favor of UCC, why it should be implemented. That means the arguments more in favor of Article 44. First is equality and justice. It removes discrimination, especially gender-based discrimination. Women will be the largest beneficiary of this Uniform Civil Code, because they'll not only get power within their marriage, they will also get adoption of child rights, they also get inheritance right in the property of their parents. Then you have national integration. It promotes unity, one nation, one law. Why should a citizen who are living the same street, eating the same food, breathing the same air, why should be they treated under different laws? So this is one solid argument. Then you have secularism. True secularism is where the state is neutral in the personal laws, and state can be neutral when you have one uniform law. Then simplification of laws. It reduces complexity of multiple legal system. So many different personal laws, they will be converted into one law. It will lead to women empowerment and discriminatory practice like polygamy and unequal inheritance. Polygamy means when a man marries multiple women, that is called polygamy. So, and also women are generally not given property of their father. It is not distributed among women. Only the brothers distribute the property. So women will get these rights. And many countries have UCC. For example, France, USA, they are more secular country in the true sense. They does not interfere too much into the religious matter, and they have in the true sense, they have Uniform Civil Code. Whereas there are certain arguments against Uniform Civil Code also, which talk about Article 25 of religious freedom. It says that this is a threat to diversity. India is a multicultural society, and that diversity, that multicultural system has to be maintained. How can the people argue that you will wipe out the diversity by making similar laws in personal matters? Then you have religious freedom concerns, as it is protected under Article 25. Then you have minority insecurity. Less than 20% of the population is Muslims, and other religions are even less. So they have an apprehension against this Uniform Civil Code. They have a fear of majoritarian imposition. Clear? Then you have practical challenges in drafting, accepting this code, which will be difficult. Bringing all the stakeholders in one table, it will be difficult. Then you have complexity of implementation in the form of drafting, coding, harmonizing it among different people in the society, and rationalizing the aspects of the code. Then you have politicization of this issue, where it is used as a political tool rather than a reform. It may lead to communal violence, the clashes between Hindu Muslim, for example. It may lead to this thing. Clear? So these are some arguments against UCC. So it is not merely a legal matter, it's more deep-rooted issue. So every time you bring up this issue, it's not just legal, it involves a lot of stakeholders within the society. It involves their personal lives within their house. So what can be done? What should be the way forward? See, we have to build consensus among the society, among all the organs of the society. We have to discuss and deliberate with the stakeholders. You cannot impose such a law over the citizens. When people are governed by a particular way from hundreds of years, so just by imposing one law directly, you will disrupt their personal life. So you involve the stakeholders, increase the awareness within the society. See, you have to make people aware and sensitize them about this scheme, about this code, about the benefits of this code. In fact, even if women are gaining from it and men are somehow losing their power, you have to explain them that your sister, your mother, your daughter, they will also gain benefit out of it. Fine. So unity is more important than uniformity. So uniformity can come by just implementing a one law, but unity will be maintained if that is implemented in a proper manner. So we need unity without uniformity. So we have to strike a balance, eliminate only those practices first that do not meet the constitutional standards. So why to implement the entire UCC in one go? Can we do it in parts? Yes, we can do. First, we can talk about some provisions which have consensus among all the stakeholders in the society. First, we can implement that. Later on, the other parts, difficult ones. So optional UCC, for example, the initial stage, you adopt the voluntary provisions. Clear? And awareness we have seen, and then gender justice first, focus on equality reforms. So when it comes to phase-wise adoption, first to come should be the gender justice related provisions, where women are getting equal rights or somehow their situation in the society is improving as per these laws. Clear? So this is how we can implement UCC. UCC is an important argument. It's not as if it's not a either or scenario. Largely the debate is that from rights to traditions, what has to be protected. It is a question between what it is right now and what ought to be in an ideal society. So we will see in future how the government goes ahead with this topic, how after implementation of UCC in multiple states, how it is taken into the central laws. Fine. So for you, your task is to write this answer, discuss whether uniform civil code is necessary for achieving gender justice in India, or gender justice can be achieved even without uniform civil code. So write this answer and make sure you get it checked. Now coming to the second topic of today's discussion, it is regarding the recent Prime Minister's visit to Sikkim, where he highlighted that the natural farming which is happening in Sikkim, it can act as a model for the entire country. Now why natural farming is important for us? Because of the rising inflation, because of the vulnerabilities our farmers face in the country. 55% of people are directly dependent upon the agriculture and their income levels are not so good. The contribution of agriculture is least among all the three sectors. Okay? So we need methods where we reduce the input cost. If we reduce the input cost, we do more natural-based farming, it will help us in getting better output. Let's say you are using a lot of synthetic inputs, normal conventional farming, and still you are getting 100 rupee output. And if you can get same output without putting a lot of ingredients, so your cost price of production of crops will reduce. Ultimately, farmer will gain more out of it. So the conditions of farmer can be improved by this. And government also have a target of doubling the farmer's income. That can also be achieved by this. Clear? So it is important for us because it is part of GS paper 3, environment and agriculture. It is also part of GS paper 1, geography. Within that also human geography, they can ask this type of things. Clear? So what is natural farming? It is a farming method that avoids synthetic fertilizers and pesticides. It relies on natural inputs, whether it can be cow dung, urine or biomass. See, these natural inputs are also which are available on the farm, because if you do integrated farming, then they are available within the farm. You do not have to buy in something new. You do not have to see, one difference between organic farming and natural farming is that in organic farming, you use biofertilizers, biopesticides instead of synthetic fertilizers. But in natural farming, you do not even use biofertilizers. So you use farm-based inputs, which are already available in the farm. For example, if the farmer has a cow, he can use cow dung as a fertilizer. He can mix it with the urine to improve its quality and other biomass which is available on the farm. For example, tree leaves, the dead and decay part of the trees. Clear? So this concept was popularized by Subhash Palekar, who talked about zero budget natural farming. Zero budget natural farming basically means that even if you are not having any money, still how you can continue the cycle of agriculture crop growth. So what are the core principles of natural farming? It is chemical free farming, where you do not use any synthetic input, be it fertilizer or pesticide. Soil is used as a living system. Focus is on microbial activity, because these microbes, these you can say earthworms and other insects, they work for aeration of the soil. Okay, all these things. Then you have minimal external input, or you can say zero external input. Self-reliant farming system will be there. Biodiversity and mixed cropping has to be maintained along with crop diversity. Crop diversity means that you are growing different crops every season or every year, so that the health of the soil is maintained. If you just do monocropping, if you grow just one crop year after year, it will reduce the fertility and qualities of the soil. Yeah, then mulching and moisture conservation. Mulching means that you cover the entire soil with the tree leaves or residue of crops. This does not allow water to evaporate from the soil, so it maintains the water within the soil. Soil cover to retain moisture within the soil. Then you have livestock integration in the form of native cow breeds, which maintain the nutrient cycle of the soil and the entire ecosystem of the farm. Then you have water efficiency with minimal irrigation. In this system, the crops are resistant to drought. They require less water. So they can survive on less water also, which can be maintained even without irrigation, just on the rain-fed basis. So these are some of the core principles of natural farming. Then there are some of the major components of natural farming. For example, Bij Amrit. Now, Bij Amrit means treatment of seeds using cow dung, its urine, and lime-based formulation. What it does, they improve the quality of the seed. The seed germinates faster, seeds germinate better because of this technique of Bij Amrit. Then you have Jeev Amrit. It acts as a biostimulant, promoting the activity of microorganisms in soil. Jeev Amrit is again an organic mixture of different things which is used into the soil, which enhance the biological activity within the soil. Okay. Then you have mulching. Mulching, as we have seen, it is covering of soil surface with live crops and straw. That means dead plant biomass. For example, your stubble. Stubble can also be used for mulching the soil. The whatever stubble is left after the crop, it can be distributed on the floor, and it can be used like this. But what happens with the rice or wheat stubble which people burn in Punjab, Haryana, it is not easily degradable. So for those crops, using stubble as mulching is not easy. But if it is used with certain, you can say, other ingredients which allow its decomposition to become faster. Then you have Vapsa. Vapsa means activating earthworms in the soil for water vapor condensation. Now, these earthworms are, you can say, friends of the farmer. They help in better aeration of the soils. They help in better growth of the roots of the plants. So they are very useful. And last is plant protection. Plant protection is by spraying biological concentrations to prevent pests and disease and weed problem. Weed are unwanted plant growths. So some kind of bio-based solution can be used to treat these. Okay? For a lot of, in zero budget natural farming, no external ingredient is used, be it bio or non-bio. But in a normal natural farming, some ingredient can be used which are bio-based. Okay? Not exactly biofertilizers or pesticides. They are homemade, on-farm made ingredients. Then you have some difference between natural and organic farming. For example, in natural farming, we have own farm inputs, whatever is produced by the waste of either you can say trees, plants, or animal waste. Whereas in organic farming, external organic inputs are allowed. For example, biofertilizers, biopesticides. The cost in natural farming is very low, whereas it is a bit expensive in organic farming, but not as expensive as commercial farming. Certification is not required here in natural farming, whereas for organic farming, you require certification, that too regular certification after every few years. The philosophy is to become self-reliant here. The farmer is not dependent upon anybody. Here, the philosophy is more market-driven, where you get a premium for the organic produce. Clear? Now, what are the benefits of natural farming? First, it is low cost of cultivation, as we have seen. It eliminates the need of expensive chemicals, fertilizers, pesticides, and hybrid seeds. Seeds of last year can be used for growing the new crops. Then it improves soil health. By improving soil health, and it enhances soil carbon, microbial activity, and natural nutrient cycling within the soil. So the soil's quality, naturally it is being improved. Then you have chemical-free food, which is more safe, residue-free, and nutritious, which improves public health. A lot of problem people are facing right now because of these chemical-based farming. A lot of pesticides, they get into the plant body and they are then consumed by humans. Then water conservation is done. It improves soil moisture retention through mulching and reduces irrigation need. Climate resilience in the form of reduced greenhouse gas emission, and crops withstand drought, flood, and temperature stress. Along with it, we have biodiversity conservation. It enhances beneficial insects, earthworms, and other soil microorganisms, which further enhance the yield within the farm. So yields are more sustainable, more reliable. They remain stable for a longer duration of time. It ensures stable crop productivity over time without degrading natural resources. And last is farmer empowerment. Reduces dependence on credit and external inputs, lowering the risk of debt and crop failure. A lot of farmers suicide because they do not have the capacity to repay their debt. So they feel ashamed and they take the path of suicide when they are not able to give back the loans. So informal credit is a major issue in farming. To reduce that informal credit, the poor farmer who cannot access formal credit, at least they can do natural farming. If they are well aware, if the government provides them with the extension schemes, if the government incentivizes them, if the proper knowledge is given to those people, their life can be saved. Clear? So these are some of the benefits. Now what government is doing in this regard is, it's not as if government is not doing anything. There is National Mission on Natural Farming, where the government, it was started in 25th November 2024. It was centrally sponsored scheme. Centrally sponsored means both center and state will be funding in this scheme. Both will be giving funds. It aims to strengthen agriculture practices with scientifically backed approach. The proposed outlay is 2,400 crores. What is the target of this mission? It initiating natural farming in 7.5 lakh hectares across 15,000 different clusters. Clusters of many hectares of land will be made together, and on those clusters, large-scale natural farming will be done under the National Mission on Natural Farming. Then government aims to setting up of 10,000 need-based bio-input resource centers. Clear? Then generating awareness among 1 crore farmers on natural farming. So government will also do regular workshops or other programs to aware people or aware farmers specifically for this program. It will also include 2,000 model demonstration farms and deployment of trained Krishi Sakhis for training farmers and awareness. 2,000 model demonstration farm means that in different places such farms will be created, which will be a kind of sample demo for demonstration, so that farmers can come and have a visit there. They can see how natural farming can be done, how it is beneficial, what kind of yield it generates. So that can be seen by the farmers. Then you have Bharatiya Prakritik Krishi Paddhati Scheme. Bharatiya Prakritik Krishi Paddhati Scheme. Now this provides financial assistance of rupees 12,200 per hectare for 3 years for the cluster formation, training and certification to the farmers. So if the farmers pool in their land, they create a cluster to promote again natural farming, financial incentives are given. That is 12,200 per hectare. Then you have state level natural farming initiatives like Andhra Pradesh community managed natural farming. Similarly, states like Himachal Pradesh, Gujarat, Karnataka and Kerala, they also provide subsidies, training and input support to promote natural farming. Clear? So some efforts both at the central and state level are being put regarding natural based farming. Now still some challenges are there. People are not getting enough benefits out of this initiatives of government. Now why these challenges are still there? Because initial yield reduces in this case. When you shift from chemical based farming to natural farming, the yield initially it goes down, then it goes up and becomes stable. Now this is what happened in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka government, they came up with a plan that from tomorrow we'll stop chemical based farming and we'll directly convert to organic farming. Suddenly in next couple of years, their food security system collapsed because the yield went down. They did not have enough food to sustain their population. So it led to a crisis in the country. Clear? So yield reduces initially, which is a issue. But if farmers are aware of this, they can withstand this initial loss. So during the transition from chemical based farming to natural farming, crop yield may fall in the first few seasons. Then you have knowledge and skill intensive. This natural farming, it requires proper understanding of soil, health, crop cycle and preparation of natural inputs. See, even if you have to give some natural inputs, they have to be given on the right time, at right place, when you have optimal amount of, let's say, rainfall. All these things have to be taken care of. A lot of farmers are not aware of this thing. They have limited awareness. A large number of farmers are still unaware of the natural farming methods. They lack scientific validation. Even if somebody advises them, they raise question over it because they do not have enough demonstration farms. So that's why government is focusing on creating demonstration farms for the farmers. Then you have market limitations in the form of that no well-developed market or premium pricing system as you have for the organic produce. If you produce something and label it as organic, it can sell as much as 5 times of the normal produce. But there is no such premium available in the market for natural products. If you label your product as natural, in fact, people who synthetically produce, they in fact call their products as natural products. So you have a lot of labor requirement. Practices like mulching and preparation of bio inputs require more manual labor. So it is more labor intensive. It again becomes a challenge to have that amount of labors, because the family does not have enough members. If you have to hire labor from outside, they'll require some cost. Again, it will lead to higher input cost. Then you have availability of desi cows. What do you mean? Zero budget natural farming depends upon indigenous cows, which are not easily available to all farmers, because these desi cows or indigenous cows, they are expensive. They come at a huge cost. Then you have policy and implementation gap in the form that different states follow different models, leading to uneven adoption and uneven outcomes of these policies. So you need some kind of uniformity along the country to adopt natural farming on a large scale. Clear? Now, what can be the way forward in this natural farming? What can we do? How it can be improved? First is there should be a gradual transition from hybrid model of chemical-based farming to natural farming. So it can be a gradual transition, not suddenly, because suddenly the yield will reduce and when supply will be less, the price of crops will increase, and farmers do not easily get the benefit of that price rise. The middlemen will gain all the benefits. The consumers will have to pay the higher price, farmers will still get the lower price, the middlemen will enjoy all the bounty. Then you have to increase research and evidence, you have to do scientific trials, and then put out those results in front of people or farmers. You have to train farmers, you have to build their capacity and do field demonstrations to them. This is most important, doing field demonstrations. Until and unless they see by their own eyes, they'll not rely on the system. They'll not just rely by if somebody says them. You have to show them the results. Then market support has to be done. You have to do proper certification and branding so that farmers can get a premium. And if you incentivize them once, if they by their own can get a premium price for their crops, they will start doing natural farming. Then they don't require anybody's support. You need to do policy push initially to incentivize the natural farming. Okay, by providing basically, either you can also increase PM Kisan Nidhi, the amount 6,000 when the farmers get under PM Kisan Samman Nidhi. Either you can increase that. If somebody does natural farming, they can get more price along with it. So direct benefit transfer type of scheme can be used here. Or you encourage community-based models where FPOs, farmer produce organization. Basically, some farmers, they come together, they create FPOs, they create self-help groups, and then they do this cluster-based natural farming. So these things can be done. These are some of the way forward which can be adopted. Basically, you first have to show the farmers what are the benefits of this, how they can get benefit, how they'll incentivize. You have to tell them the ways to prepare the soil, prepare the inputs, get your land ready for the upcoming rainfall. All these things have to be done. And Krishi Vigyan Kendras, the All India Radio, they can help a lot in this manner. So you can write about them also. Clear? So you guys make sure to write a question that discuss the potential of natural farming as a sustainable alternative to chemical-based agriculture in India. How it can act as a sustainable alternative, not just alternative. Yeah, make sure you write this answer. Now coming to the first topic of Presence Pointer, it is regarding Narcotics Control Bureau. NCB, they have recently, a drug trafficking kingpin has been brought back to India from Turkey. Recently, this drug trafficking kingpin was having links with Dawood Ibrahim syndicate. It was detained in Turkey by their agencies and he was deported to India. Here, NCB or Narcotics Control Bureau, they took over him and took over their custody and arrested him as he arrived in India. And by doing this act, our anti-narcotics agency, they have extended their reach across the borders. Now they can extradite people from other countries with which we have friendly relations, and they can prosecute them. Now he was brought back from Turkey under Operation Global Hunt. So Operation Global Hunt was for bringing drug trafficking kingpin back to India. Okay? So this is a statutory body within our polity. This Narcotics Control Bureau is a statutory body established in 1986 under the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act of 1985, which is in short also called NDPS Act, Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act of 1985. Clear? It works under Ministry of Home Affairs. Headquarters is in New Delhi, and the objective is to combat drug trafficking and abuse of drugs within our country. Now, what are the key functions of NCB? They enforce NDPS Act. They coordinate with the state police, custom organization, and other agencies through its zonal offices. NCB basically have different zonal offices. They coordinate with different state agencies and avoid the drug trafficking, or you can say drug consumption. They help in intelligence gathering on narcotics. They help in international cooperation. Basically, if a case involves Interpol, UN-based agencies involved, then NCB is the, you can say, standardized authority within India to look at these matters. If you remember Aryan Khan case, the son of Shah Rukh Khan, he was caught with a small amount of drugs by NCB officers. Okay. So what are the powers of NCB? They have power to search, seize, and arrest anybody under the NDPS Act if any drug is found with them. They have the power of investigation of drug-related offenses within the entire country. Now, their international linkages, they work with United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC. They work with them. They work as a country-specific agency of UNODC. Now, what are the important features? They focus on both supply reduction and demand reduction. Supply will be reduced by capturing the suppliers. The suppliers have to be captured, and demand reduction by rehabilitation and awareness programs. For example, recently Honey Singh has been made brand ambassador of NCB. Honey Singh had an honest confession that I used to drink a lot of alcohol and do drugs, but now I have left them because it had severe impact over my health. Now the same thing is being promoted by NCB. Let's see the example of Honey Singh. He is a youth ambassador, and you see his condition. He, for 6-7 years, he went into complete depression because of using excessive doses of drugs. So which might look fascinating from outside is actually not. This is what the message NCB gives. Now, why this agency NCB is being created and why it is important? Because Article 47 of our Constitution, the DPSP, it talks about the duty of state to raise the level of nutrition and standard of living by improving health. Now, within this article, one provision says that ban of the consumption of intoxicating drinks and drugs. So Article 47 of DPSC propagates that state should ban the consumption of intoxicating drugs and drink. Okay? So state should do. So government does not outrightly bans all these things because it is a DPSP, not a proper act. So at the right time, government can do. In some states where it is required, for example, in Gujarat, Bihar, it is being done. Where in other states, a lot of revenue comes to the government from sale of liquor. But drugs promotion, nobody does. Every state government, every central government, they are against the consumption of drugs because it is highly, whatever drugs are being consumed, they are all illegal. No drug can be sold by legal channels. Okay. What more we should know? That the broad legislative policy of NCB is contained within the 3 central acts. Now it is formed under NDPS Act, but it has powers, so it functions under 3 different acts. That is your Drugs and Cosmetic Acts, your Narcotic Drugs and NDPS Act, we know, and then Prevention of Illicit Traffic in Narcotics, Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act 1988. There are 3 laws under which this NCB works. Then India is also a signatory of international conventions like Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs in 1961 and the United Nations Convention Against Illicit Traffic in Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances in 1988. Now these 2 are the international conventions where India has signed. India has also shown its interest to reduce the drug consumption. Now one more reason you should know that why India suffers so much, 2 terms you should know, that let's say this is India. Here we have golden crescent and here we have golden triangle. Now these are the 2 major areas of drug production. Golden crescent involves countries like Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran. They produce a lot of drugs here and then they transit it to India. Here you have Myanmar and then you have countries like Thailand and other countries like Laos, Cambodia. These countries, they produce here. So this is called your golden triangle and it is called golden crescent. So India comes in between their route of drug trafficking. So India is a market for them. So a lot of illegal trade happens through borders. That's why India is vulnerable to them. Now, what can be the exam traps here? What you have to remember from prelims perspective? It is not a constitutional body. It is a statutory body. It works under Ministry of Finance. This is wrong. It works under Ministry of, comment in below under which ministry it works without seeing back. It deals with domestic drug issues, deals only with domestic drug issues. This is again wrong. It also deals with the international cases, and it also deals with rehabilitation. It has no power of arrest. Again wrong. They have the power to seize, to arrest, and to punish somebody. Their only advisory body. Again, it is wrong. They have powers, different powers. They are not just advisory body. They have a lot of powers within them. NCB. Clear? So moving to the next topic, it is regarding an international organization, which is International Labour Organization. Now, this ILO was formed in the year 1919, just after World War I. So it is one of the oldest international organizations where different countries have participated. Now, why it is in news? Because the Center of Indian Trade Union, CITU, it is a trade union. They have complained against the Union and Uttar Pradesh government to the ILO on the violation of workers' fundamental rights, assault on trade union rights, and industrial regions in Noida. Recently, we have seen some protests happen in the regions of Noida, Greater Noida, regarding the working condition, regarding the wage, regarding the low salary and rights of workers. Regarding these violations, now because this ILO is a tripartite body. Tripartite means that three different organizations are working here: your government, employer, and worker. All three have a stake here. When they comes for a meeting, the workers representative, the employers representative, and the government people, they all sit together and discuss. So that's why CITU has sent a representation. They have sent an application to complain against the government that they are violating their rights. Clear? What we have to see regarding prelims in this, it is a specialized agency of UN. It was established in the year 1919 after the Treaty of Versailles, which led to the ending of World War I. It became a UN agency in 1946 after the establishment of United Nations in 1945. Then it is headquartered in Geneva. Geneva is in Switzerland. What is the unique feature? Unique is the tripartite structure where government, employers, and workers. Government, employers who give work to people, and workers. They all three are part of it. So it promotes labor rights, decent work, and social justice. Basically, गांधी जी ने जो अहमदाबाद मिल स्ट्राइक के टाइम पे किया था, वही कुछ काम है ILO का. Clear? What are the key functions? It sets international labor standards, leads to conventions and recommendations. It monitors the implementation of these conventions, whether countries are doing or not, and it provides technical assistance to countries for forming their labor-related laws. For example, recently India also, they have codified 4 labor laws. 30, 40 different laws were there. They were consolidated into 4 different laws to simplify the implementation. This kind of technical assistance, some kind of technical assistance is also provided by ILO in such matters. What are the key reports which are published by ILO? Now, UPSC can clearly directly ask these reports, or they can give multiple reports and you have to match them as which organization has reported them. For example, World Employment and Social Outlook. It is one of the major reports published by ILO. Then Global Wage Report is also a famous report of ILO. Then you have World Social Protection Report, World Employment and Social Outlook for Youth, and World of Work Report. Now see, all these reports, they have similar terms: social and employment, wage, again social protection, employment, work. So similar kind of terms which are related to labor or worker class. So if you can also decipher that which report has been written by whom based upon common sense and reading that ये report किसकी हो सकती है. Clear? Then what are the other core areas of ILO? Child labor abolition, forced labor elimination, for which we have already laws within India for both these, right to organize for the workers, and equal remuneration for all the workers. Basically mean equal salary. Now, India is one of the founding members of ILO. Though we were not independent at that time, still we were among the founding members of ILO. If you are not aware of this, you can mark this thing wrong. So make sure you remember this thing. We have ratified several conventions, although all conventions are not ratified by India. Now, why we have not ratified all? See, an integral part of United Nations Human Rights Framework, ILO is an integral part. So these are the 8 different conventions. Out of this, 2 have not been signed by India. The rights to organize and collective bargain, this India has not ratified. and freedom of association. And the convention number 87, this India is not ratified. Rest all forced labor convention, abolition of forced labor, equal remuneration, discrimination, minimum wage convention, and worst form of child labor. All this have been ratified by India. Why these two specifically have not been ratified? Because this involves some kind of trade union making by the government employees, and government does not want to give too much of power to the government employees so that they stop working and they do trade unionism, because that will hamper the essential services which are to be provided to the people or the citizen of the country. That can hamper the service delivery. So that's why government has given this rationale. Now this ILO was also given Nobel Prize in 1969. Basically the committee which decides who will get the Nobel Peace Prize, they said that peace can only be attained through social justice when you have equal salary, when there is a less gap between the rich and the poor. Only then you can have peace in the society, recognizing the ILO's effort to improve the welfare of working class globally. Clear? So for their efforts to improve the working class people's condition, workers' conditions, they were given 1969 Nobel Peace Prize. Fine. So what do you have to remember here? What can be the exam traps? It was established after World War II along with the UN. This is wrong. It was after World War I in the year 1919. Clear? Just after World War I. So it was not made along with UN. It was made before UN. Then headquarters, it is in New York. Again, this is wrong. Headquarters is in which city? Again, mentioned in the comments. Only governments are member of this. Again, this is wrong. Along with government, your tripartite structure here. Government, employers, and workers. Then India is not a founding member. Wrong. We are a founding member of this. And part of World Bank Group. Again, this is wrong. This is a specialized agency of UN, but not part of World Bank. Clear? So these were some of the principal pointers which you have to keep in mind. Moving to the next topic. Again, now this topic is regarding an international organization, OPEC and OPEC Plus. Why? Because UAE has recently exited from these groups. Now, what are these groups? Why UAE has exited? We'll have a look at this. Now, OPEC is the Organization for Petroleum Exporting Countries. Basically, it was a cartel. Some countries came together. They were the major oil producing countries. They said, okay, we'll together plan how much output we have to produce, at what price we'll have to sell, so that everybody can benefit along with it. Now, this organization was led by Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is de facto leader of this organization because of their infrastructure, or you can say large oil producing capacity. Now, what happened? This was an intergovernmental organization of oil exporting countries. It was headquartered in Vienna. Now, see, Vienna is in Austria. Now, this can become interesting. Now, how OPEC oil producing countries, we can imagine that Saudi में कहीं पे होगा headquarter, UAE में होगा, Russia, Venezuela, a lot of countries are there, USA, वहाँ होगा, but it is in Vienna. So make sure you remember this. The founding members were Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. The objective is to coordinate petroleum policies, stabilize oil prices throughout the world, and ensure steady supply. Whenever the supply, somebody does large quantity of supply, the supply will increase, the demand is constant, so the price reduces. So all these countries then suffer because of low price, because they have to sell. जितने ज़्यादा price पे selling होता है उनका फायदा है. So they coordinate their policy, they maintain output at a particular level so that they can get good price for this crude. Clear? Basically, their key function is to produce production quotas to influence global oil prices. So every country is given some quota that you can produce this much of oil in this time. So what are these OPECs? It comprised 12 nations that control 40% of global crude oil production and 80% of proven reserves within the world. So 80% of world's reserves are within these countries, and they are responsible for 40% of the global crude oil production. Okay, so who are the members? The 12 members. The largest member is Saudi Arabia. Then you have Iraq, Iran, UAE. They will effectively leave OPEC from May 1st, the 1st of next month. Then you have Kuwait, Nigeria, Libya, Venezuela, Algeria, Republic of Congo, Gabon, and Equatorial Guinea. So whatever names you can remember, just remember them. Then there is one organization which is called OPEC Plus. Now, what is OPEC Plus? OPEC Plus is a group of OPEC plus non-OPEC oil producing countries. So those countries which have oil within their territory, which produce oil, but they are not formally part of OPEC. So this is an informal grouping. कि OPEC में 12 थे, चलो भाई तुम 7-8 हो, तुम भी produce हो, तो you become part of OPEC Plus. These are major non-OPEC member. Among them is Russia. Russia is a kind of leader of this informal grouping. It was formed around 2016. It is an informal alliance. The purpose is broader coordination on oil production, and production cuts or increase in production, basically to maintain a stable price. So it is not a formal organization. It has no permanent secretariat. OPEC had secretariat in Vienna, but not OPEC Plus. What is the key difference? OPEC is a formal organization. OPEC Plus is informal. Clear? So which countries are part of OPEC Plus? You have Russia as the major part, and you have Mexico, Kazakhstan, Oman, Azerbaijan, Malaysia, Bahrain, Brunei, South Sudan, and Sudan. These are the major members. Along with their capacity they are given. Clear? So Russia is the major member here. So what do you have to remember? OPEC is headquartered in Geneva. This is wrong. Geneva में किसका headquarter है? ILO. OPEC's headquarter is in, again mentioned in the comment section. India is a member of OPEC. No, we are not oil producing. 80% of our oil comes from these countries. We import them. Very few quantity of oil is being produced in India. Let's say on the coast of Bombay, at Bombay High, or in Northeast India, in Assam. You have oil rigs. So very few quantity of oil is produced by India. We are not part of these oil producing countries. We do not have enough capacity to produce and export to other countries. So how can we be part of it? Whatever little we produce, we consume it locally. OPEC controls all global oil production. Now this is wrong. They control 40% of the global oil production, not all. Russia is a member of OPEC. Wrong. Russia is a member of OPEC Plus, not OPEC. And OPEC deals with natural gas. This is wrong. They only deal with petroleum based products, crude oil based products. Clear? Not natural gas. So these are some of the exam traps. Now why UAE is leaving this grouping of OPEC? Because of the current ongoing Israel-Iran war, or the US-Iran war. Because a lot of uncertainty has crept in. These countries, the Middle East countries, they are facing a lot of challenges. Also, you have production quotas within OPEC. Now they'll have freedom to produce how much oil they want to produce. The economy of UAE is suffering. The tourism has been wiped out completely of that region. Their oil rigs have been targeted. Their oil production facilities have been targeted. Their infrastructure has been destroyed. So they need more money now. That's why they have left OPEC, and they said whatever capacity they have generated, they invested huge amount in creating capacities. Now they'll say that we'll work on full capacity and we'll produce and sell oil. Now this thing will be good for India. Why? Because when competition will be there in the market for supply, the demand is same, so we'll get crude at cheaper price. So coordinated output cuts are there in OPEC. UAE does not want to follow them. The cartel discipline has to be followed within the group. Now UAE can independently work on their own national interest. One of the arguments given by UAE is that we have to look for our national interest. We have to focus on our economy, and will lead to limited output flexibility was there in the group. Now they will have output freedom. They can maximize their revenue. They can have strategic independence regarding whom to sell, how much to produce, and they'll have greater market leverage. Now, what can be the market impact in this scenario? Now, there can be three different impacts. One is managed exit by UAE by talking with other countries. Now, UAE leaves, but with coordination, and continues informally along with the group. They become informally part of that group, and they make sure that they do not disrupt the demand supply in the market. So it will have limited market impact. There can be cartel stress in the form that others will also start questioning the need of OPEC. Now every country will start saying that I'll produce more and more, and then I'll sell in open market, I'll get more money. If every country starts doing this, so nobody will benefit. None of these OPEC countries will benefit out of it. The oil prices will go down and all of these countries will suffer. So price volatility will rise. And third is price war risk. Just now what we have talked. More supply will be there, more competition, lower price and revenue pressure on all the countries. So these can be based upon less to high impact. If they manages informally still with the OPEC group, the volatility will not be as high. Then there is stress in the sector can be second scenario. Third scenario is everybody moves out and they start haphazardly doing their own production. So this is the rationale behind UAE's exit. Basically, they have to look for their national interest and their economy. Now moving to the next topic, this is regarding the Public Safety Act of Jammu and Kashmir. Recently what happened, one MLA of Aam Aadmi Party from Jammu and Kashmir, he was also released. He was detained for more than 200 days under the J&K Public Safety Act, but then High Court of Jammu and Kashmir quashed that particular application. Basically, they said that his detention was unlawful, so you release him. Similarly, some 6 people were booked under Public Safety Act over school protest. So their family members, they are in disbelief how but just because by doing some school protest, how can government arrest somebody and put them under Public Safety Act. Now this Public Safety Act is similar to what National Security Act is on the national level. This Public Safety Act that is implemented only in Jammu and Kashmir. National Security Act is implemented throughout the country. So we'll look at these laws. So the Jammu Kashmir Public Safety Act of 1978, it is a preventive detention law of Jammu and Kashmir. Preventive detention. Basically, the original purpose was to curb timber smuggling. So to reduce timber smuggling, those people, the smugglers, were arrested under these laws. But now it allows detention to maintain public order and security of the state. For these two reasons, a person can be detained under Public Security or Public Safety Act. Now, what is the detention period? If a person is detained for the reason of maintaining security of the state, he can be detained for 2 years. If a person is detained for public order, for creating nuisance in the public order, then they can be detained for just 1 year. So maximum punishment, or you can say maximum detention, can be 2 years, preventive detention. Now, who is the authority? Your district magistrate or divisional commissioner is the authority to implement it. And what are the special features? The detention happens without trial. If you go before independence, which was the law where there was detention without trial, जिसके खिलाफ बहुत protest हुई थी, it was Rowlatt Act, which was also called Black Act. This Rowlatt Act, it led to the protest and later widespread protest within the country. So you have limited judicial review in this capacity. So in fact, this person, J&K court, it quashes Public Safety Act detention of the AAP MLA Mehraj Malik. He was set free, I think, day before yesterday, after spending 229 days in jail without any case, without any trial, without any judicial review. So he spent 229 days in jail just under preventive detention. Similarly, you have National Security Act of India, which is again a preventive detention law, but at the national level. Objective is to maintain national security, public order, and third thing, essential supplies here. Essential supplies is also part of National Security Act. Clear? Now it applies to whole of India. The maximum period of detention is up to 12 months here. That is 1 year. In Jammu and Kashmir Public Safety Act, the maximum detention was 2 years. Here it is 1 year. Now central government or state government or district magistrate, they are the authority, or you can say authoritative person, to implement this law. What are the safeguards? You have advisory board review. What is advisory board review? It is a mandatory review which requires independent body of 3 high court qualified judges to evaluate the legality of detention within 7 weeks of detention. But see, this committee is made by government. Government does this detention. So obviously we can expect there can be loopholes. Sonam Wangchuk, who is a renowned scientist within India, he works for the welfare of people. The 3 Idiots movie, in which Amir Khan was there, the Amir Khan's portrayal, or you can say that picture is based upon Sonam Wangchuk. So this person, center revokes Sonam Wangchuk's NSA detention after 6 months. So first, government arrested Sonam Wangchuk based upon National Security Act. He was in jail for 6 months, and then government withdraws this case, and now he is released. So again, without any trial, he was in jail for 6 months of his life. So these are some of the draconian laws. A lot of debate also happens whether we still require these laws or not. The government argues that to maintain the security of our country, we require these laws, where the people who argue for the civil rights or the fundamental rights, they say that these laws are draconian. They are laws used by the British government. Now these kind of laws should not be used in our country. Fine. So these are some of the arguments. What do you have to keep in mind here? Public Safety Act applies across India? No. NSA applies across India. Public Safety Act applies only in J&K. Clear? Then NSA allows indefinite detention. This is wrong. We have 1 year of detention at max. Both requires trial before detention. Now this is again wrong. People can be arrested without trial in both the laws. PSA provides more safeguards than NSA. Again, this is wrong. NSA has more safeguards in the form of advisory committee, this advisory board review. Then you have only central government can detain under NSA. This is again wrong. Not only, both center, state, and district magistrate, district authorities under the state government, they can also detain a person. Okay? So these are the specific information with regards to prelims which you have to keep in mind. Fine. So coming to the last topic of the day. Now this is regarding aviation turbine fuel pricing formula. Now recently, because of this Iran-Israel war, the price of crude oil has been increasing. Now the aviation turbine fuel, which makes up 40% of the cost of airlines. Whenever you travel in airlines, let's say if you purchase a ticket for 10,000, out of then 10,000, 40% of the cost just goes into the aviation turbine fuel cost. Okay? So usually ATF prices account for about 40% of the airlines operating cost. The price surge has led to a further increase to 55 to 60%. This cost has been increased for airlines, so their profit pool has been reduced. Some companies like SpiceJet, they are saying that if the government does not help, we can go bankrupt in this scenario. So the industry and the Federation of Indian Airlines, they have said they have urged the central government to temporarily suspend the 11% excise duty on aviation turbine fuel. Basically, government जैसे petrol पे tax लगाती है excise duty, they levy on aviation turbine fuel also, fuel for planes. 11% duty is there. This Federation of Indian Airlines, it says that for the time being, when the industry is in stress, government should waive off this tax for basically for domestic flights and all these. Now, ATF prices in India are also linked to mean of Platts Arab Gulf, which is MOPEC price assessment by S&P Global Jet Fuel Framework. We will see this further in the slides. What does it mean? Now, the current conflict in Iran and Israel, it has pushed the benchmark Brent crude price from 72 barrel to 118 barrel, resulting in aviation turbine fuel. Its price has increased from $87 and touched a high of $260, which is an increase of 295%. Now the price of Brent crude is different, this ATF price is different, so it has been increased 260%, whereas normal Brent crude has been increased almost twice. So this is the issue with the airlines in India. Now, what is aviation turbine fuel pricing formula? It is a market-linked pricing. It is not fully administered by government. Government does play informally some role through its PSUs, but largely it is market determined. If the crude price goes up, ATF price will go up. If the crude price will fall down, ATF price will fall down. It is determined by oil marketing companies like Indian Oil Corporation, Bharat Petroleum, Hindustan Petroleum. So they revise this price every month. On the first of every month, they revise this price and they tell the new price. Earlier, I think it was revised twice a week or twice a month from 1st and 16th of every month. Now it is done once a month. What are the key components of price? What all are the factors which are included in the price? See, it is linked to international crude prices. If it increases, it will increase. It is based upon mean of Platts Arab MOPEC price. See, this Platts is a kind of commercial organization. It is an organization which provides pricing, everyday pricing of the crude in those countries. Basically, it collects all the pricing and you can say data regarding the price of different ATF in different countries, let's say in the Middle East. And then they create an average of the everyday's ATF and then they show it. So this mean of Platts Arab Gulf price. So this company does this work. So this is a kind of benchmark. Based upon this, the price of Indian ATF is also decided. Then your exchange rate. If the rupee goes down, as it is going down, we have to anyways pay the foreign countries in dollars to purchase oil. So if the rupee will fall against the dollar, our price will increase for ATF, which is also one of the reasons right now why the ATF price is increasing. Then you have refining and marketing cost of this oil marketing companies. Then you have dealer commission, the person who sell. For example, in case of normal petrol, diesel, you have petrol pump owners, they get the dealer commission. Similarly, ATF, maybe you have dealers. And state VAT. State VAT is a major component where states, they levy tax on the aviation turbine fuel. Similarly, your central excise tax also, which is I think right now 11%, but I am not confirmed. Just see article mein likha tha 11% that they want this waiver from central government in the form of incentive. Agar central excise tax come hoga, to price will also come down. What are the other important features? The price vary across states due to different state VATs. Different states have different VATs, so the price varies according to state. In Delhi, you can have different price. In Mumbai, different price. Kolkata, you have different price. Now, what is the regulatory aspect? It is not under full price control of the government, unlike LPG and kerosene earlier. In fact, now also, the commercial LPG, the blue color cylinder, it is fairly market driven, but the red LPG cylinder which comes to our homes, the residential one, it is fairly controlled by government even now. Although on paper it is market determined, but government does influence that. And kerosene also is, the kerosene price is also determined by the government. Now this is the graph which shows that how the price of ATF has increased in the last month. Clear? Now, what we have to keep in mind before looking at the exam traps, what government did recently is in the last month, they have changed basically ATF price on 1st April when it was revised in this month. Government shielded that domestic consumers. Basically, what they said that they shielded passengers from extreme shock. The domestic airlines, they can partially increase the price of tickets in domestic market. Basically, government said that in domestic market you can just increase roughly around 25% price. So 25% transmission of fuel cost was allowed on domestic routes. Whereas on charter flights and international routes, the government says you can completely align your price with the market. So more than the price of ATF on these routes, on chartered flights and international flights, it doubled. Whereas in domestic routes, it increased little bit, around 25%. So you can see the price difference. In Delhi, it was 1,04,000 per kiloliter of ATF, whereas for these chartered flight and international routes, the price was 2,07,000 around per kiloliter of ATF. So this government shielded somehow, but still the airline says that we have to operate on both the routes, mixture of both the routes. We need some incentive to stay alive. Otherwise, airlines will suffer. Anyways, Indian airlines are suffering. Apart from Indigo Airlines, no other airlines is earning money. Your Tata-backed Indian Airlines, what they purchased from the government, it is also under huge losses. So what do you have to keep in mind here? ATF price is fixed by central government. This is wrong. It is market-driven, largely, at least on paper. Same price across all states. Again, this is wrong. Every state have their different VATs, so price varies state to state. Then it is revised daily, like petrol and diesel. Petrol, diesel are revised daily, although the government makes sure that the price does not fluctuate too much. But this is revised 1st of every month. So right now on 1st of May, the prices of ATF will be revised. So before that revision happens, the Federation has requested the government. So VAT has negligible impact. This is wrong because VAT is a major component which is applied by the state government. And only one component decides price. Now this is wrong. There are multiple components. As we have seen here, there are multiple components which decides the price of aviation turbine fuel. So you have to keep this in mind. Fine. So with this, we come to end to today's discussion. Make sure you guys write the answer and see you again in the next discussion. Thank you.